My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Slotherhouse. And if you're wondering to yourself, Gavin, what's Slotherhouse? Well, let me fill you in. This movie is about a killer sloth named Alpha who ends up in a sorority house, and maybe he's killing people? And that's all I'll say. But if you thought, wow, that sounds like the dumbest, most absurd and goofy plot on the planet, well, good news. This movie is fully aware of it and it leans into the camp as much as possible. And the end result is a total blast. Like, I had a lot of fun with this movie. If you're wanting a legitimate scary and tense movie, this isn't that. It's pure comedy. Like, this movie had me laughing out loud so many times. Like, there was one scene specifically when the sloth has to get somewhere, and it almost had me on the floor. It was just hysterical stuff. So I really liked the fact that Matthew Goodhue knew what kind of movie he was directing, and he really commits to the bit. I also like the fact the villain's a sloth. We don't really see that often, if ever, before. And I thought because I believe it was a puppet, it was really well handled. You know, sometimes you could believe that he was cute, and other times you could believe he was evil. They really nailed that balance. Kind of reminded me a bit of Gizmo with the sounds he made. From Gremlins, I should say. And then you've also got this plot going on about this upcoming election at a sorority house. And I was oddly kind of invested in that. I thought, I don't know, it's kind of dumb, but it was simple enough for me to care. And I love how over the top everybody was, especially the villain. Her name was Brittany, I believe, and she just acted so cartoonishly evil, and I got some enjoyment from that. The acting isn't great though, I should say that. Like, I don't think this is a movie that needed to have good acting. It can get by without it. But sometimes the movie suffers as a result. And I do think this movie has some pacing issues. It's only 90 minutes long, but I feel like they could have tightened it up to like an hour and 15 minutes. Because I definitely started to feel a drag by the end. One death scene specifically went on for far too long, and it just wasn't funny. And yeah, what else? As much as I enjoyed this movie and I loved how out there it was, there are a few moments where I'm like, why didn't you do more with that moment? There was one scene with a cop, and I would have liked to see that scene progress in a more humorous way. There's a scene when the sloth gets a gun, and I would have wanted more of that. There's also a scene where the sloth gets a samurai sword, and I would have wanted a bit more of that. So, like, I'm happy with what I got, but I still wanted a bit more of the insanity, and at the same time, I think the movie could have tightened things up pacing-wise. So, yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this movie. Like, if you go in wanting to have a fun time, if you're wanting to laugh at a movie, I think this movie does the trick. It can feel dry every now and again, but I think it's a very entertaining, enjoyable movie that had me laughing quite a bit, and we just don't get enough movies like this nowadays. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to recommend it with a 7 out of 10. I don't expect this video to do good because nobody's talking about this movie at all, but I'm telling you now, this movie will be discovered and people will love it over time. You heard it here first. But Slotherhouse, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon, and Gavin out.